My name is Sarah. I am 20 years old. Today, I want to tell you a story. It is the story of my first night as a wife. When you close your eyes and imagine a wedding night, what do you see? Maybe you see flowers on a soft bed. Maybe you hear gentle music. Maybe you imagine two people in love, smiling and laughing together. That is the dream. That is what every girl in my town dreamed about. But my wedding night was not a dream. The white bed did not look romantic to me. It looked like a grave, and the man standing in the room with me was not my love. He was my husband, a man I barely knew, a man everyone said was dangerous, and I was terrified. Let me take you back 2 weeks before the wedding. The year was 1974. I was a simple girl. I worked in a small library. I loved books. I loved quiet afternoons. I loved drinking tea while reading stories about distant countries. I had dreams. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the ocean for the first time. I wanted to fall in love, slowly, with a kind boy who wrote poems. But life does not always follow our dreams. One Tuesday evening, I came home from work. The house was silent, too silent. I walked into the kitchen. My father was sitting at the table. His shoulders were shaking. He was crying. I froze. My father never cried. "Papa," I whispered. "What happened?" He looked at me. His eyes were red. On the table was a yellow envelope. "I am sorry, Sarah," he said softly. My heart began to race. "I gambled," he said. "I lost everything. The shop, the money, even our house." I felt the world disappear under my feet. "This house?" I asked quietly. "It was the only thing my mother left us before she died." He nodded. "They will take it next week." Then he said something that changed my life forever. "There is one way to save us." I waited. Mr. James Sterling bought my debt. I knew that name. Everyone knew it. James Sterling was rich, powerful, cold. People said he destroyed businesses without emotion. "What does he want?" I asked. My father looked at the floor. "He wants a wife." Silence filled the room. "He wants you." I ran to my room. I cried for hours. I felt betrayed. I felt sold. I wanted to run away. But then I looked at my mother's photographs. I imagined my father, alone in the street. Slowly, I wiped my tears. I looked at myself in the mirror. "Goodbye, Sarah," I whispered. That night, I decided to sacrifice my dreams. I agreed to marry the man everyone called a monster. The wedding came quickly. The church was full of strangers, rich people, business partners, elegant women wearing expensive perfume. Everyone smiled at me. "Lucky bride," they said. But no one saw my shaking hands. No one saw my fear. Before the ceremony, James's mother entered the room. She was tall and serious. She opened a velvet box. Inside was a heavy gold necklace. "This belongs to our family," she said. She placed it around my neck. Click. It felt heavy, not like jewelry, like a chain. "This necklace is worth more than your life," she warned. I suddenly felt trapped. I walked down the aisle. James stood waiting. He was tall, dressed in black. His face was serious. He did not smile. When we said our vows, his voice sounded calm and distant. "I do." It felt like signing a contract. Not like love. After the ceremony, we left together in silence. The car ride was long. Neither of us spoke. I watched the city lights disappear as we drove toward his mansion on a hill. The house looked enormous, beautiful, and cold. He led me upstairs. "The bedroom is here," he said quietly. Inside was a large room with a giant bed. Red silk sheets covered it. My stomach turned. Then I heard a sound. Click. He locked the door. Fear rushed through my body. I thought, now it will begin. He removed his jacket slowly. I closed my eyes. My hands trembled. I waited for pain. I waited to lose my freedom. Footsteps approached. He stopped in front of me. "Sarah," he said softly. His voice was gentle. I felt his hands near my neck. I flinched, but he did not touch my dress. He touched the necklace. "This is hurting you," he said. He carefully opened the clasp. The heavy gold fell into his hand. Suddenly, I could breathe again. He placed the necklace on the table and stepped back, giving me space. I stared at him. "Why?" I asked. "You bought me." He looked shocked. "Bought you," he repeated. Then he sighed. "I helped your father because he once saved my father's life," he explained. "He refused charity. He insisted on this marriage." I stood frozen. Everything I believed was wrong. "I thought you were afraid of me," he said quietly. "I didn't know how to talk to you." For the first time, I saw not a monster, but a nervous man, a lonely man. Suddenly, my stomach growled loudly. I turned red with embarrassment. He smiled for the first time. "You're hungry," he said. He left the room and returned minutes later, carrying 2 simple sandwiches and 2 glasses of milk. We sat on the floor in our wedding clothes, eating cheese sandwiches. We laughed. We talked about books, about music, about childhood fears. "I'm afraid of spiders," he admitted. I laughed. The powerful businessman was afraid of spiders. The fear between us slowly disappeared. Finally, he stood and pointed to the bed. "You sleep there," he said. "And you?" I asked. He picked up a pillow. "The sofa is fine for me, but it's our wedding night," I said softly. He looked at me seriously. "Sarah, you are my wife, not my prisoner. We have time, a lifetime." Then he added, "I will never touch you unless you want me to." That night, I slept peacefully. For the first time in weeks, I watched him sleeping on the sofa. I did not feel passion. I felt something stronger. I felt safe. That night taught me an important lesson. Love is not ownership. Love is respect. A real partner does not use power to control you. A real partner protects your peace. True love does not rush. It waits. Sometimes love begins with fear and grows through kindness. James and I have been married for 50 years. He is still my best friend. And yes, he is still afraid of spiders. My wedding night was not the end of my freedom. It was the beginning of real love. If this story touched your heart, please like this video. Share it with someone you love, because everyone deserves a love that feels safe. My name is Sarah, and this was my story. Thank you for listening.